The reason for going to Prahran College of Advanced Education for me was to focus entirely on photography. Prior to my year at Prahran, I went to Swinburne College to study graphic design because I thought that would be a way to make a living. After being disenchanted with graphic design and finding myself completely in the photography lab at Swinburne, I bailed, went and worked for Gordon Delisle's studio for 6 months. Gordon Delisle was the head of photography at Prahran. I said to Gordon at one point, I'd like to go back to college. He said, well, come on in. The portfolio that I submitted to gain entry to Prahran was one that I printed in Gordon Delisle's studio. And those were street pictures, photographs going out to the bush, allegorical stories where I had got my friend Robert Reed to enact a idealized fall from grace. And I experimented with all kinds of optics, like, for example, a fisheye lens was the most absurd optic. How do you make intelligent pictures with a fisheye lens? Well, you make a story and make an allegory. So I played with that. It was a time of incredible experimentation, but I put a lot of that work into the portfolio in various segments by subject group, and I presented that to Gordon Delisle. He said, oh yeah, you're in. It was gratifying. So I landed in this college, and it was an extraordinary experience. I think the main story about Prahran is this. It was a time of unprecedented social change in Australia and indeed in the world. We, baby boomers, were questioning the conservatism of our parents. We were questioning the ethics of going to war in countries like Vietnam. We were questioning our obeisance to countries like the United States. We were experiencing sexual freedoms that were unprecedented. It was full on. There was a great deal of exploration, emotional, social, physical. We were discovering ourselves and who we were as human beings and how our community worked and functioned. There was a great sense of freedom, and the people who spearheaded that, perhaps more than anybody else, was Athol Smith, who in a way was reliving his youth and loved so much his community of students. And of course, Paul Cox, who, as a man in Holland raised staunchly Roman Catholic, came to reject that background and went straight into the sex, drugs, and not rock and roll, but classical music for him, and found a freedom in Australia that was thrilling to him. He felt he had come home to where he should be. And as both of these figures, and later John Cato, who I didn't work with at Prahran specifically, but later knew him as a friend and a photographer, these were very large, empathic people who encouraged the community of students there, supported them, and in a way lived through them as they were discovering their own potentialities and pursuing their passions and their goals. So it was really a remarkable and formative time where what was happening socially and politically influenced how we saw the world and how we documented. The key thing is that we have photographs documenting that social change in Australia and in ourselves that are profound and wonderful. A camera is very much a machine that's guided by intelligence, emotion, wit, all of the range of human capabilities in exploring intellectual and emotional terrain. So it was the perfect medium for me to observe the world and show how I saw it.